Hi there, this is Elliot from Ubiquitous again, and in this video, finally, we're going to talk about Docker Compose. And Docker Compose is an extra command that you can install on top of your Docker so that you can control multiple Docker containers all at the same time using Docker Compose command. For example, I am running multiple containers like this, and for some security reasons, I had to block out all the specific names of the containers. But the point here is that I am running multiple containers like this. And then let's say if I want to update this container using Redis version 6, and then say I need to update it to version 7. Without Docker Compose, what I would do is just stopping this container and then recreate the container using the bash command. However, using Docker Compose, you don't have to do that because Docker Compose will take care of all these process to stop the container, the running container, and then recreate the Docker container. You can define all these specification of your containers. And then services is just the name of the wrapper of Docker container. So this is the specification of each Docker container as an example. And then this is the name of the service. Just like running Docker container based on image, you just type the image name of your Docker, and then you can specify the path of your bind mount volume on your host system. And then the path on the right-hand side is the path for the Docker container. And then environment here is the environment variable you can just pass. Indeed, you can actually do all this on bash command line just using arguments. However, if you can list all these arguments on a file, that's much easier to maintain. Now, let's say you are running all these three containers, and then say if you want to change the version of this to, I don't know, 10.10.5, then you just need to rewrite it and save, and then just run the command again to recreate this container only. So let's actually directly dive into demo. You will see what I mean by that. All right, to begin with, I'm just going to start from my notes on my website. And if you wonder where to find this code, just go to ubiquitous.com/courses and then find this Docker course, which is free. And then just click this button, go to classroom. Then you'll have all this information, step-by-step instructions for this tutorial series. Now, first thing I'm going to do is copying this code. Now I'll go to my VS Code. And this is my default folder that I'll be working on. And then on this project, I have this empty docker-compose.yaml file. And then there's another folder, src, and underneath it, I have main.py. And this is the same code that I was using in the previous tutorial. So if you want to have this environment as well, you can just go to 2.6 Docker Network. Then you will have this TUI web server using Fast API in Python. Now, I'll paste all these Docker Compose contents. And then the first line is just simply defining the version of this Docker Compose and then service. So services are just a list of the services, and then what is service is just a wrapper for Docker container. So what I mean by that is I have this Docker container definition like container name, web server 1, container, that's the name of my container, and then this is the name of the image, and then network mode is bridge. Obviously, I'm going to have to use this port mapping from 8080 to 3000. And then this std open entity y is the same as this. If you remember from the previous tutorials, we have been using it-it to run Docker, like Docker run it. And this is to attach this terminal. So std open entity y is for I and t. Then volumes. This is definition of the Docker bind mount, which I'll be using in this tutorial. And then, like I said, bind mount is just mounting the directory from your host machine to container. So I have this src folder and then main.py, and I'm just mounting this TUI web server to this Docker container. So what it does is just defining the arguments for the Docker run, but in a more organized way. So to run this Docker Compose, what you can do is just simply run Docker compose up. And then currently I have no Docker containers running. So I'll just run this, and then it's running, but my terminal is now dangling there. So we don't want to have this kind of behavior. Instead, we want to detach the terminal from the process of the Docker container. So to do that, I'll just stop it for now, clear Docker compose up -d, which means detach. And this container is just running as before. Now, if I get into the Docker container using Visual Studio Code, it's just going to be like the previous tutorial. Then we have this Docker container running, and this time we have run this Docker container using Docker Compose. That's the difference. And obviously, we would have to install this dependency, Fast API and Uvicorn. Then if I run this python main.py, oh, the main.py is now under SRC, so I'm going to get into SRC and run the main.py. Then I do have the exact same server as before. If I want to run extra server in extra container, I can just literally do this one more time. So I'm going to copy paste this second container definition in the website, and I'm just copy pasting all this. Then the second container's definition is like web server 2 CNT, which is under service 2, and that's the service name in Docker Compose. And then the rest of things are the same as before. Only difference is that now the port mapping for this container is 8081. And then I don't have to run this container with a specific name. I'm just going to do the same command as before, docker compose up -d. Then this will automatically find out which container is not running, and then it will create the instance of the Docker container. Now I have this second container running. Now if I get into this Docker container using VS Code, it's the same as the other container. I'm going to open up an integrated terminal. And then I'll install the dependency as well, PIP. And this is running on 3000, which is the port number in this second container. So if I get into this, let me see if I can see the port numbers and so on. Okay, so if I just hover the mouse over this name of the running container, I can see the port number like this, and then this port number from the host machine 8081 is mapped to 3000 in the container, and then the volume as well. Now let's assume we need to update the Python version of the second container to, I don't know, Python 3.12.2, and then I will not do anything but just run the same command again, docker compose up -d. Then currently this second container is running on Python 3.11, and then I'll just run this again. Then there's no image on my host machine, so it's downloading the new version of the Python, and then I'll just recreate the container anytime soon. I'll just reload it. Then new container is running with the new Python version. How do I know that? Because on the left-hand side of this host machine's VS Code, I can see this Docker container is running based on Python 3.12.2 right now. So that's the new container. If I type python-version, it is now running on Python 3.12.2. That was a brief tutorial of using Docker Compose, and if you think this content is useful, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Thanks guys, I'll see you in the next video.